Hello guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my page. This is the game 5 from the FIDE World Chess Championship match played between Dean Liren and Gukesh. Let's enjoy the beautiful things the game has to offer. The score so far, Dean has 2 points, Gukesh has 2 points. This is a game of is first to get to 7.5 points out of 14 classical games. In the case of a tie, then they will go to other time format for decision making, the tiebreaker. So in this game 5, Gukesh is playing the white piece against Ding, who is playing the black pieces. E4 by Gukesh, we have E6. Ding employs the French defense again in this game 5. He won with the French defense in game 1. So after this exchange variation, we have knight out and bishop out. Then here pawn moves to c3. After pawn down to c4 harassing the bishop, bishop go back to c2. We have bishop to d6. Queen comes out with check. Queen blocks. Queen takes. King takes. In some variation, you see bishop taking that queen. Well, that gives room for white to either castle or use this diagonal to take control of the diagonal by developing the bishop. However, in this particular game, after the queen takes the queen on e2, on e7, we check. We have king taking. White goes ahead to castle so that the rook can join the game soon. We have rook check. King goes into f8. Then rook takes rook. King takes. In this position, bishop to g5 with the intention to cause weakness on this particular file. Let's play a random move. For example, let's say this happens, then bishop take, pawn take. You don't want this kind of setup in a world championship. So in the game, after bishop to g5, what you saw was knight on b to d7. So knight defends the knight. In case bishop takes, knight can take the bishop instead of taking with the pawn. So knight comes outside also. Then we have pawn harassing the bishop. Bishop goes back to h4 for safety. In this position, there is knight to h5. After rook check, king goes in for safety. We have pawn to g4. Pawn to g4 attacks the knight. What to do? Knight goes to f4. Here, bishop comes down to g3 to attack the knight. What to do? Knight moves to b6. Here, pawn push. Pawn takes, knight takes. We have a simple and very active move. Bishop to d7. Putting the bishop on this active squares is very logical. Well, the game continued after knight on g to f3. Coming back with the knight. Rook to e8, offering rook exchange. What to do? Here, knight to e5. Bishop takes on e5. Here, pawn takes on e5. The engine is suggesting that pawn takes on e5 is a bit of an inaccuracy because there's a line with rook takes on e5. If rook takes, pawn takes, bishop goes to a4, countering and harassing the bishop. Yeah, with bishop pair on this board, it seems as if whites have the advantage. So for a way to have equal fight and counter, there is a bishop offer on a4. Do not forget, this knight here too is under attack. What to do? How do you continue in this game? If you go for bishop takes, then there will be check first. So the king has to go somewhere. If the king goes closer to the knight here, knight takes with check, pawn takes, so that we can still use this pawn to defend this. Then knight takes, attacking this. So that was the concept on ground with that particular line of rook taking the pawn. However, in the game, pawn takes on e5 instead. This allows knight goes to d3. A very sharp maneuver with the knight. What is the knight threatening? The knight is threatening to take the rook. The rook is under attack from the knight. Knight supporting to attack the pawn. And this is a free pawn here. Knight is attacking it. What solution will you give? Let's take, for example, you play rook to defend this particular pawn. Knight takes pawn. If you don't want to take with the bishop, you can go ahead to bring back your rook to pin the knight to the rook. However, there's a simple move like this. F6 defending. So if F4 attacking the knight, knight to G4. These are simple logical move. However, we did not see it. We did not see this in this match. In this game, actually, what did Gukesh play? Gukesh took that knight, and this allowed pawn takes the bishop, placing a passed pawn on D3. Very dangerous. How do you continue here? In this position, what we saw was F3. Why F3? F3, from my perspective, opens this diagonal to allow the king to easily come closer to the pawn, support any piece that wants to capture that pawn. So, what did Dinlereng do? He needs to find a way to hold on to this pawn and at the same time get a queen into this board so that he can increase his winning chances. With Gukesh knowing this, he will not allow Ding to achieve his purpose. So, Ding first of all went on with knight to c4. First, knight takes, pawn take. Now we have a pawn that needs to be guarded here on c4. At the same time, there's a defender for this pawn on d3. Do you think this pawn will survive? The king is coming, the bishop is here, the rook is here. This pawn cannot survive this. Well, we're about to find out. Rook to e4 first, attacking the defender of the pawn. Bishop to c6. Let me share a line with you with bishop moving over to e6 instead. Well, this is what ending suggests from the first suggestion. So if rook goes to d4, then we have rook to c8. After this move, we have king. King wants to come into the game through this diagonal so that he can support in probably promoting the pawn. Well, bishop to e3, we have king to h7. Let's not forget white also has a king. With the king too coming into the game, I don't think it's going to be very easy for black king to assist that pawn down the line. So king comes to g6, we have king to g3. After rook moves to g8, we have rook to h4. Rook to d8, we have rook to d4. Well, in this position, it seems as if moves are being repeated. But this line, according to the engine and the analysis, as you can see on the screen, from your screen, you can see the analysis by this side. It's still favoring black one way, but I cannot tell why. Because if you go ahead, you say, okay, you capture this and it takes or take with the bishop, you still need a lot of work for you to push this pawn down. You get the point? So if that is the case, well, favoring black with the analysis is something to consider and to learn why about. Well, let's come back to rook to e4. After rook to e4, bishop to c6. That's what we saw in the game. This is what Dinlereng played. Well, there is rook to d4. Bishop takes the pawn. King attacks the bishop. Bishop goes back here. He goes back to c6. If we come back to this position, I was thinking, well, let me not say I was thinking because that was not my full thought. I was watching the analysis on Chess24, and I remember Judith Pog actually mentioned something about this move, and the second analyst, that man, I forgot his name, he said with this move, if rook takes, you see, if king does not come here, this is simply winning. Straight up, because after the rook comes back, then queen comes into this game and the rook will be lost. From here, this is an easy win for black, Dinlereng. But in the game, we did not see this kind of variation. They play smartly and they play responsibly. You know, these are games that when you go through it later, you will know reason why they made the moves. Actually, after bishop to c6 for safety, the evaluation bar immediately said this game is equal from here. And guess what? We are about to find out if it was equal or not. Here, rook takes the pawn, the defender of this particular d3, that pawn on c4. Rook comes, rook offers rook. Well, here Gukesh offers to exchange rook. Rook takes on d4, pawn takes. Here, bishop going after this pawn. Yes, I think that's cool. And at the same time, there is an idea with coming here and staying here. Well, I would have thought of maybe an option with this first. What do you think? Would that make any sense? This will happen after bishop comes back. This will now happen. Well, do you think we can still hold on to this pawn? Fine. In this position, we are looking at bishop to d5. After b3, stopping the bishop from taking this pawn, king to e7, king moves, then we have king takes the pawn on d3, g6, king move, pawn to a6. We have king move, then we have this move. These are a few repetitions in the game, and the both players offer to have a draw in round 5. This round 5 ended, and the score becomes 2.5 for each player. Delirium has 2.5. Gukesh has 2.5. Thank you for watching. I'll bring you more from the FIDE World Chess Championship between Delirium and Gukesh 2024. See you till then. Have a nice day.